AITA for conditioning my wife into keeping her behavior in check when she was postpartum? I, 30M, have been married to my wife, 29F, for a few years now. We had our baby 6 years ago. As anyone who's been through supporting a postpartum spouse, it can be very hard at times. At the time, I had come to take a hard stance when it comes to the way she spoke to me. It all started about a month after the baby was born. At first, I could see the exhaustion and did everything I could to support her, picking up the slack around the house, comforting her during the late-night feedings, and being there when she needed me. I told her I'd do anything to make this easier for her. However, over time, the tone of her words started to change. I'd hear things like, "You don't understand what I'm going through," or "You never help me with anything." Even when I was literally doing everything I could to be a supportive partner, she started to treat me like I was a failure. One night, after we both were spending hours soothing the baby, I sat down for a moment of rest. I had barely sat down when she snapped at me. "Why are you always so useless? I'm doing all of this alone, and you're just sitting there." I felt my blood boil. If that wasn't my wife, I swear I would have done something bad. This was it, I couldn't just sit there and take it anymore. So, I looked at her. "S&D said, I won't be spoken to this way." I didn't raise my voice, didn't try to explain myself, I just said it firmly. She started crying. I was used to her crying over things and comforting her, but something about that particular moment made me feel like I was being emotionally manipulated. I'd been giving, and giving, and giving, and yet somehow, it wasn't enough, and I certainly wasn't going to accept being berated anymore. So I looked her in the eye and said, "The way you're treating me is a reflection of your character, not mine. Your nasty behavior is not something I'm going to tolerate. I won't allow you to make me feel bad about myself, or like I'm the problem. I'm doing my best, but I won't let you treat me like this anymore." She started sobbing, telling me how unsupportive I was, how I didn't get it, how she just needed someone to hold her. She couldn't elicit any empathy in that moment, only contentious pity. So I walked away. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just removed myself from the situation. I went for a drive. I didn't engage with her until she could calm down. When I came back, I made it clear that I wouldn't tolerate being treated that way. I didn't blame her for feeling overwhelmed, but I drew a line in the sand when it came to how I deserved to be spoken to. I did this several more times every time she spoke badly with me or disrespected me, and she broke down in tears because I simply used to say I won't be spoken to that way. I didn't back down. I stayed silent, standing firm in my decision. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. Her emotional state didn't give her the right to treat me poorly. I showed her, by my actions, that her behavior would meet nothing but my indifference. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me upset or begging her to change. There's a part of me that worries she'll resent me for this. She eventually did stop after a while and became more or less normal. I think all those postpartum months, I conditioned her behavior, by consistently refusing to acknowledge or react. I refused to give her the satisfaction she could get any rise out of me. We recently had another argument and she cried to me again, saying that I never let her open up to me. I wasn't gentle enough, I wasn't forgiving enough, and I was being judgmental, cold, mean, and harsh. I didn't know what to say. I just told her that me putting that habit in her was a deliberate attempt to ward off the bad ways she spoke to me, which made her even more angry and upset. She was crying the whole time and said I had abandoned her during the most vulnerable time of her life. That I wasn't a good husband to her, that she doesn't feel emotionally safe with me.